All right, y'all. We are here. We in the building, and we ready to do this here show. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J live from the den. We got a hot show for y'all tonight. Debuting a brand new segment tonight, hosted by our guest who we have in the building. We got a Y segment with your girl SY, as well as we got some What the Hell, y'all. The return of What the Hell is back. We got to talk about the Michael Dunn case, and we are going to talk about El Haj Malik El Shabazz, also known as Malcolm X. We got a lot to get into tonight, and I'm ready to do it, and I hope y'all are too. Ain't no half stepping Marcus J's right now.
Yeah. It's about that time. It's about that time to get.
Button your lip, open your ears, strap on your thinking cap. Socially conscious talk that's entertaining with a dash of humor and the top sports stories of the week. It's time for Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J.
Sellers has Jordan. Jordan with 2 seconds to go. Puts it up and scores at the buzzer. Michael Jordan has won it for Chicago. Manning lobs it. Burris alone. Touchdown, New York.
Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. He hits one deep to right center. That ball is out of here. The Yankees win the pennant.
If they lying,
they must be half stepping.
Ain't no half stepping with Marcus. J is back once again for a live hot show, and we ready to do it. Be down with us tonight, 804-402-2893, to be down with the flagship show heard right here live from the Den of Legacy Internet Radio. Definitely happy to have you guys here in the building with us as we go through the show tonight. We got a lot to get into. The long-awaited return of What the Hell. We're going to ask that question. What the hell is going on with folks, y'all? And there's a lot to get into in that segment, which we'll get to momentarily after the first break. We're going to debut a brand new segment. I'll let the man himself debut that segment as well as tell you about it momentarily. We're going to get into the Michael Dunn case and the Jordan Davis case down in Florida. Clarence Thomas made the news. We're going to talk about him. We got a wise segment, Black Inventions, and Malcolm X. So we got a lot to get into tonight. But as we do every single week, we always go around the room and we holler at the folks who we have here in the building. And I'm going to start that with my brother, JR. What's up, brother?
Hey, not much, man. Finally got the test this weekend. Got my first star on the black belt.
You got the test, you got the star.
Yeah, man. Doing my thing.
Knocking jokers the hell out.
Little Valentine's Day stuff, you know. Doing my thing there too. So
that's what it is, man.
But it's Monday. We back.
We back
in here.
So we debuting a new segment here today.
Yes, we are. Y'all got a sneak peek a couple of weeks ago. Debate Files. Basically, to summarize it a bit, me and my boys, one of them decided one day, hey, look, I really don't like how people catch feelings on Facebook all the time. So I'm creating a group. In this group, we can talk about anything. It doesn't matter what it is. We argue. We go at each other. But it's all in love, and it's all honest and open. So I'm going to give you all a sneak peek every time I'm here on what's going on in a debate.
That's what it is, my brother. As I go around the room, I got my sister, S.Y. Butler. How you doing, darling?
Hello, darling.
You doing okay?
I'm doing wonderful, darling.
Oh, look good. It's so good to see you over there.
It is good to see me, eh?
Yes.
Oh, you like what you see?
I love what
wait,
I
I've
see.
just mixed up my accents.
Yeah, I
can tell.
I got you into a Caribbean one instead of the British one that you like to normally
Yeah, I
do.
used that too this weekend.
Yeah?
Yeah, my
I'm
daughter
glad-
told me shut up a couple of times.
I'm glad to see you. I'm glad to see you both. We had some special guests that floating in and out of the room. Ain't no half step on Marcus J. Live from the den, of course, host Legacy Internet Radio here is the crew. So we got Jay Grizzy and Lissa P been floating around in here tonight. We may or may not get them in, but their show can be heard every Wednesday night from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. right here on Legacy Internet Radio. So if you listen to our show, you need to be listening to theirs as well as all of the other shows. And
right.
I will actually be in for Steven Sykes tomorrow on Enliven Radio. So
Really?
I'll be in the building for Steven tomorrow. So
Let me hear your voice.
Definitely.
Let me hear it.
You want to hear my Steven Sykes voice?
Are you coming from the Batcave tomorrow?
The hell no. We come from live from
No,
the
it's
den.
Tuesday. You gotta be in the Bat
Nah,
Cave.
man, ain't no Bat Cave. This is Den. Legacy Internet Radio. We the flagship show. So wherever I'm at, that's where the flagship show is. And so I appreciate it. And the same for you guys. Y'all part of this show. So wherever y'all go, if you debut your segment on somebody else's show, if you just in or hanging out with them, y'all are part of the flagship show. So just remember that. You know how to have a Marcus J.
sir.
Let's get it. Yes. She's messing with inside joke, people, but you know what? It's cool. So 804-402-2893 is the number to dial if you want to be down with us. And we are going to bring back What the Hell. And I wasn't going to do it, JR. I wasn't going to do it because I wanted to keep with a Black History theme. But when they killing giraffes like they was doing, like we did that story last week, you know, it's hard. And you know, and I looked at social media because you can listen to our show back on MixLR as well as YouTube. And the segment that we did last week on the people killing the giraffes and feeding them to the lions, that was a very popular, you know, segment on YouTube. You would think we talk about Black history. You know, I got my fist up, but they want to listen to us talk about dead giraffes. So maybe you want to hear us talk about the Pennsylvania woman that was charged with her newlywed husband with killing a man they met through Craigslist. And they admitted into the slang in a jailhouse interview. And the wife, get this, she has admitted to killing at least 20 other people over the last 6 years. Now, here's where it gets really freaky. I'm getting this from abcnews.com. She's 19 years old, y'all.
She is what?
She's 19 years old, and she has said that her and her new husband have been killing people for the last 6 years, and they have been killing people from Alaska to North Carolina, and there's bodies out there that people have not been able to, they've just been missing people or their bodies turning up. Sunbury Police Chief Steve Mazzio told the newspaper that investigators were aware of her claims of involvement of the murders. He said, quote, they are seriously concerned and have contacted police in other jurisdictions, end quote. In a statement issued Sunday, the FBI in Philadelphia said they've been in contact with Sunbury and will offer any assistance requested in the case. Now, Miranda Barber, that's the woman's name. Her lawyer, of course, he's not returning any. He or she's not returning any calls. But their attorneys are saying that her and her husband have both sought psychiatric evaluations. The attorneys are seeking that for their clients. Miranda Barber, she's a petite woman with long brown hair, told investigators that she met a 6'2", 278-pound victim after he responded to her on Craigslist, offering companionship for money. I think we know what companionship for money is all about. The husband told investigators they committed the crime because they wanted to kill someone together. The couple were married in North Carolina, moved to Pennsylvania about 3 weeks before the crime. I think we've set this up enough, but I'll just say this last piece. She claims she joined a satanic cult in Alaska when she was 13 before moving to North Carolina. Online records for the woman show that they identify her mother as having lived in both Alaska and North Carolina. So she does have roots in both the states that she's claiming to have victims in. JR, I want you up on this one first. Judging by the looks on both of your faces, you have not heard this story. But I did hear the story over the weekend. It's been breaking over the last couple of days. And when I researched it, I'm getting this from ABC News, which, you know, whenever I do a story, first of all, because I have gotten bitten by hoaxes and What the Hell, because What the Hell is all about crazy stuff. So I've gotten bitten by hoaxes. And so what I like to do is I like to vet these stories by checking multiple media outlets to verify they're accurate. And then when I read it on the air, I just read whichever one that I'm most comfortable with the article. So I have read this in places, including my personal favorite as well, which is the what?
The Huffington Post.
Right. I just chose not to read this one from there. So, JR, you up first. She is 19. She's been in a cult since she was 13. 6 years she's been killing folk from Alaska to North Carolina. What you got?
Man, I don't know. Wow. I mean, I really don't. I don't know how to handle that because, I mean, number one, there's been a movie on Craigslist Killer. There's been a movie on that. So I think we should be at the point now where we should not be going on Craigslist for much of anything. You know, unless you're trying to get you a cell phone or something cheap. And then I can understand, because then you can meet in a well-lit, well-public place, you know, at your local mall in a food court.
Meet me at the
anything
mall.
like that. You know, make sure you have somebody with you at all times.
Right by the security booth.
And why are we paying for companionship? Why are we doing? Why are we doing
paying for it? Who wanted it?
I don't know. That's why. What you think?
She probably wanted it.
I mean, obviously
Well,
they're
actually,
luring
I
people
think
in
he
to
did
kill
it.
them. You know, obviously that's what they're doing. But man, like,
He put the ad. She answered it. Now, when they say together, you said they wanted to kill
They wanted
somebody
to kill.
together.
They wanted to kill together.
So does
as
it
a
say
couple.
anything about him? Like, was he doing it before? Did she bring
It
him into
doesn't.
the cult?
It doesn't mention what his deal is. It just says that she's been in the cult for the last 6 years since she was 13.
Where's her mama?
I mean,
a lot of times, parents, man,
Her mama might be
they're
the
a lot of times
priestess.
parents are clueless about what kids are into, man. They, you know,
Her mother could be the priestess.
it's crazy to me
Could be.
when
That is terrible.
when I see a story like this. You know, first of all, it's sad because somebody lost their life. But then I'm looking at how the people who are doing these crazy things are doing them for attention. When you talk about people that shoot up movie theaters, you talk about people that walk into workplaces and shoot it up. When you talk about people who shoot people in movie theater because they texting, I mean, schools, I mean, all of these kinds of things, these people want attention. And because of the age of social media and the age of media in general, there's an outlet for these people to get attention. And in some really odd cases, it's worth going to jail forever just so that they can get the attention
sorry.
of the people to see them do this crazy stuff. And
I don't need that kind. I don't want attention like that. What in the heck is going on?
I don't get it. I don't get it personally. I mean, you know, they say they stabbed this dude up pretty good. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know. JR, when you see something like that, I mean, keep in mind that she started at 13 years old, if you were to believe her. A cult? I mean, what does this tell you? I mean, what's your
you
thought?
know, I actually got a magazine the other day that I picked up, and it was called Religions and Cults, and it basically details everything from a young boy saying a band can be a cult in the way that they act, the way that they don't associate with anyone outside of the band. And so there's certain, basically in a nutshell, there's certain criteria that they're using to identify cults. And, you know, if a person is influenced and shown these types of things at the age of 13, man, at the age of 13, I thought scary movies were cool. You know, I mean, looking at all sorts of things. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you get when you get into cult like things, there's a sort of dark connotation that we tend to associate with cults, and those types of things fascinate people, especially people who may want to rebel against their parents or just rebel against a certain situation. And over time, you know, if you tell these things to yourself enough, you may actually believe it.
Ain't no half
Just to say,
stepping
you
on
know.
Marcus J. Keeping with the cult, and you know, normally I say this respectfully, but you know, the reality is, if you do things that's crazy as hell, then you don't necessarily get the preface of respectfully. I say that because I'm getting this next article from CNN. I got this article from Carlton Banks. He put me onto this one. This one is about the reality show snake handling preacher who dies of a snake bite. Kentucky pastor. He just started his reality TV show, Jamie Coots. He died Saturday night after refusing to be treated. On the show called Snake Salvation, he's an ardent Pentecostal believer that said he believed that a passage in the Bible suggests poisonous snake bites will not harm believers as long as they are anointed by God. The practice is illegal in most states, but still goes on mostly in the rural South. He's third generation Serpent handler, has aspired to one day pass the practice and his church full gospel tabernacle in Jesus' name on to his adult son. The National Geographic show featured Coots and cast members holding all kinds of poisonous snakes from copperheads, rattlers, cottonmouths, and the website shows a picture of him, you know, and with the quote, even after losing half his finger, to a snake bite and seeing others die from bites during services, he still believes he must take up serpents and follow the holiness faith, end quote. And so I'm going to start with you on this one, SY. When we looked at the previous story of this person allegedly joining a cult and going around killing folk, the other side of religion, is this particular person who is handling snakes, who, per the Bible, decided that he ain't going to get treated for his snake bite. And so his ass promptly died.
What the hell?
Yeah, well, that's why we call it. This is what we call it. We call it what the hell.
That's some crazy BS. Because one, I don't know what's wrong with him in the first place. Should he even be playing with snakes as a pastor?
Well, that's kind of what.
Shouldn't be playing with snakes.
But that's the whole essence of what the church is about. This particular church is he's third generation. He's talking about passing it on to his seed.
Him crazy. Don't nobody want that.
Yeah, JR, what you talking
He should
about?
have took treatment.
I'm telling it was in a movie. It was in what was it? The Omen, or it was like The Omen 2, where they were looking for like a solution to stop the Antichrist from coming, basically, and they went to this ex-nun, and she was the leader of some kind of cult where they preach about taking up snakes. The girl in the movie got bit and died. Like it to me is stupid. Like certain things I'm just not trying to do. I don't know what's wrong with people. Like I'm not picking up a venomous snake. My dad always say if a dog got teeth, he bite.
Yep.
I take that to mean snakes bite too, because that's what they do. They you know what I'm saying? They ain't got no fear in me.
But
Nope.
but y'all Christian folk, right?
Yeah.
But doesn't the Bible say that just leave it in God's hands? Well, if the Bible don't say that, isn't what the Christian faith?
Leaving in God's hands?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's kind of what this dude
but
did.
God also gave you common sense.
And I'm only saying
And
that
the
because I'm
means to
playing.
help
And I'm only
yourself.
saying that because I'm playing the devil's
But
advocate.
here's the thing, though.
Because I had this conversation with someone, and I'll tell you why I asked you that question. I had this conversation with someone recently, and we were talking about something completely different from this. But the conversation went, whenever someone does something stupid, it ends up being, well, leave it in God's hands. God will take care of them. Okay, cool. But God knew that they was acting a damn fool in the beginning too. You know what I'm saying? So why he got to wait till now to handle that? Why he couldn't handle that on the front end? And so this guy, he's handling snakes, and he left it in God's hands, and it didn't work out for him.
Yeah, it did. God, hey, look, the way I look at it, God made snakes, and he made them poisonous. He made certain ones poisonous for a reason. He gave you the common sense. He let you know they are poisonous. And if you get bit by one and it is left untreated, you will die.
He supplied him with the means to be well.
You know what I'm saying?
And
you got
he
common
didn't
sense.
take it.
Free will. He had the free will not to go to the doctor. He also had the free will to die if he didn't. So
It is what it
You
is.
say stupid.
peace.
And stupid with two O's. With three O's. Stupid. It is what it is. Be down with us, y'all. 804-402-2893. Be down with the flagship show, Legacy and Net Radio. And hashtag one Marcus J, 804-402-2893. Last thing I want to get into in this particular segment, keeping with religion somewhat, is the story of the college football player Michael Sam, who is by most accounts a great college football player, great defensive player, who when he if he is drafted into the National Football League during the April draft, he will be the first openly gay football player in the National Football League. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up, I had debate on whether I was going to even talk about this, and I really, really wasn't. But the reason why I brought this up is because the Westboro Baptist Church has involved themselves in this situation. Now, for those folks who don't know who the Westboro Baptist Church is, it's a nationally known church that is known for protesting situations that they deem to be against the Word of God. For example, they're against the war in Afghanistan. So oftentimes when soldiers come back deceased, they protest these people's funerals. And so they decided that the Westboro Baptist Church, that is, decided that they were going to protest on the campus of Missouri University, which is where Michael Sam was set to receive an honor. They won the Cotton Bowl, so they were supposed to be there Saturday night to receive the trophy. And that's why, where am I getting the story from, by the way?
The Huffington
Yeah,
Post,
that's what I
darling.
thought. Yeah, that's right. I'm reading it, but I couldn't make it out. My
You
glasses
couldn't say
are
it
fuzzy.
to
Yeah,
me.
I'm
It
glad
was
you.
those beautiful glasses.
Oh Lord, here we go. Anyway, see now, maybe lose a train of thought. All right. So on Saturday,
consecrate.
I'm gonna consecrate. So anyway, this story ends up turning out good. The reason why I bring it up because Westboro Baptist Church is misleading, because there's nothing about these people, in my estimation, that speaks to Christianity. And when they call themselves Baptist Church, we know that the illusion behind that is some sort of Christian faith by the fact that they call themselves Baptist Church. But getting to the point, they protest the fact that this fella has come out as gay by going onto the campus to protest him receiving his trophy. But what ends up happening is the student body on the campus blocked their entrance onto the campus, and they formed a human shield around the campus, prohibiting the folks that are part of Westboro Baptist Church to even get onto the campus and protest, supporting Michael Sam. And so I wanted to talk about it because I know, we don't really get into a lot of stories that have homosexual type of issues attached to them simply because, they just don't come up on my radar, and I feel strongly enough about bringing them up. If y'all bring them up, we'll talk about them, but no one's brought them to me, and I haven't brought up. But this one is a little bit different because of the implication of him being openly gay. National Football League. It's not like the basketball player that came out last year, whose name is escaping me. That guy was coming out towards the end of his career. This dude ain't even been drafted yet. And so if there's some people that want to throw some hate against him, they can. That would keep him from being drafted into the National Football League. So that is what makes it, JR, a story, at least for me. So that being said, with that set up, kind of give me your thoughts on Michael Sam, on the Westboro Baptist Church, or just any angle that you want to get into here.
But my take on Michael Sam is, if you want to be taken seriously and only seen as a football player, then just keep it at football. That was what my first reaction was to his announcement. Really could care less if he came up on the Redskins draft board and he could replace London Fletcher and do a good job. By all means, draft the man. Westboro Baptist Church, they really don't have no credibility with me over the years. I mean, they protested so many things from a quote unquote church. If you believe what the Bible says, like they pretend they do, then you know that the Bible is littered with wars. It's littered with people and countries and men and women who were called by God and killed in the name of God. They were soldiers. When you are protecting a country, I think I don't see the bad in that. You are doing what you do to protect your home. So having said that, if someone can criticize those type of people, I really don't care what they have to say in reference to the way a man lives.
That's why we think.
Yeah, I pretty much don't care either. At this point, there's so much going on. There's so many different ways that our lives are going. If he wants to come out, maybe that makes him comfortable. Who knows what he was going through not coming out. So he came out. That's it. I mean, it doesn't weigh anything heavy at all for me either way.
What I'm getting is indifference to his sexuality. Am I accurate, JR? Is that what you're giving me, indifference? That's why you're giving me indifference?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the reason why I bring it up, because of the way that the country is responding to homosexuality these days, I think it warrants discussion, largely because, when the more prominent people come out, and I'm not saying that this Michael Sam fella is prominent, but the National Football League is prominent, and he's about to be attached to it. Personally, I could care less what you do. I really don't care. But when I look at the social aspect of the power that the LGBT community has attained when everybody is so interested in political correctness when it comes to that community. But then there's other communities like ours, for example, the black community, where we could care less what black folk think. Now, the devil's advocate would say they stand up for themselves. When something comes down, they stand up for themselves. If you say the derogatory term for gay, you're probably going to get a fine if you know, in the National Basketball Association, Kobe Bryant, if you say something derogatory towards Jewish people, you know, someone as powerful as Michael Jackson had to redo a whole song and reissue it and take the entire albums off of shelves because they contain one word in one song. That's power. But then you can turn on television and you can hear them drop the N-bomb just as easily as, you know, they say anything else. And so I wonder sometimes what's up with that.
You know what, to that I would say the black community as a whole has a do as I say, not as I do mentality when it comes to the N-word. And, you know, we run and we use it, and, you know, yourself excluded, but, you know, we use it and we want to take it and make it our word that we're taking back from, you know, the white man, quote unquote. But, you know, when you do that and you use that word and then someone else goes and uses it of a different race, you know, you lose your credibility in saying you can't say that, only I can say it. That, you know, saying that out loud, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. I can't. Now, granted, I'm still, if a white dude was in here and used it, like, I'm about ready to chin check him, you know. But on that same token, I still understand that it's.
Well, let me ask you this, because this isn't where I wanted to go, but this is where conversation is taking us. That's why I jump in here if you got a comment here. But why is it that you want to punch the white dude in the face, but you could be in a cipher or at the barbershop or whatever, and you can hear the homies say it, and it's okay? That's where I have my problem, because you are not going to be hanging out, you know, with Jewish people and hear them dropping the K word.
No.
And I don't have to be with them, and I'm not Jewish, and I don't have any Jewish friends that I know of. So I ain't been kicking it with them, but I can pretty much say with honesty, because I think I know enough about that community, that they not running up to each other saying, "Yo, what's up, my K?"
No.
Really?
No.
So what's up with that? I mean, I personally don't get it, and, you know, I may be asking the wrong people this question.
But, you know, if I'm gonna give just a honest answer to it, without, you know, including myself, you know, after so many hundreds of years or so many years of being called that word, you identify with it, regardless, whether you want to or not. And again, yourself excluded, but a lot of people use it and they identify with it. But if they hear, especially white folk, you know, I love my white people too, but especially white folks, when you hear a white person say it of your age group, you know they were not a slaver. They didn't own slaves. Chances are they were, you know, they probably aren't racist, you know.
Maybe great grandma.
Right, they do. They have a great grandma, a great great grandma. But, you know, when you hear it, I don't think you're seeing that person as a racist. I think black people, when they hear that word out of a white person's mouth, they hear the stories they've heard from parents, grandparents.
No, they don't.
I'm telling you, when they hear that, and then subconsciously what they're thinking is that, oh, he want to take it back there. Well, let me make sure that he don't even get to thinking that it can go back there. No, and immediately you take offense to it. Yeah, they take offense to it because I'm black, you're white. You don't get to because
call me
white
back.
people own slaves.
Right. So
granted,
you don't
black
get
people
to
own
call me
slaves too.
back.
Let's not pretend like they didn't. But as a whole, what we see on TV and what we are taught, white people own slaves. Like, they don't even get into really the Spanish or people like that. When we say white people, we are thinking white people from England that came here. That's generally, if I'm being a little biased here, but if generally what we're talking about is white people that came from England, settled here, and had slaves so they can do their plantations and pick cotton. That's generally what we are fed, and that's generally what most people associated with, and they associated with overseer and things like that. So generally, when they hear that word, they're associating with that and with stories they've heard and with roots and with Rosewood and with 12 Years a Slave. They're associating with that, and so they react. The feeling that you get when you watch those movies, that's what they're reacting to.
They react to it that way because that's how they think they should react to it that way if a white person says it. If a black person walked up to you and said it, it's sheer stupidity when you think it's fun and you want to slap five, give daps, or whatever you want to do for the same freaking word just because I'm black. If you want to get mad for whatever that reason is, that you got mad at the white person, then you need to stop and you need to tell that black person the same reason.
Oh, no doubt. But I'm just saying, like, this is why they get mad. I'm not saying it's justified. I'm not saying it's right.
It's just
I'm not saying
stupidity.
any of that. I'm saying that's why they're doing
weak. It's weak. It's weak. It's lazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of negative words I can't grasp right now. But we the same culture, black folk, who can know that Pookie killed Day Day and not say nothing. Right. But if we see the white dude do it on the same corner, we want to call the cops. It ain't snitching then. It ain't snitching if a white dude did it, but it's snitching if a brother did it. I mean, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. It's like dumb. It's stupid. You know, and we get caught up in it because honestly, and this is the realest thing I'm going to say on this show tonight, black people generally are scared of white people. You scared of white people. You just are. That's why when white people are around, you say, white people. You whisper it. When white people are around, you say, black people. You whisper it.
I think it's more, maybe I'm not thinking this all the way through, but I wouldn't say that they would be afraid of the white person, but they would be more afraid of the repercussions for speaking up for themselves.
Fair enough. I can work with that tweaking of my point. But
damn it, I'm gonna get it out no matter who.
Well, I mean, we're not talking about individuals here. Right. You know, we're not talking about individuals here. So what I said is not based in individuality.
I know.
Is based in the general sense of we need to get these good white folks in here to do something about these bad ones. You know what I mean? As opposed to policing our own stuff. Because the truth of the matter is, if we handle our own business, we won't even need them. You know what I mean? And we can do what we need to do with them, in concert with them, just like they can do what they need to do in concert with us. All of that separate but equal. Hey, if that's what you want to call it, then so be it. That's not what I'm calling for. But it's not a coincidence that before, you know, the 70s and the 60s and all of that kind of stuff, when we so-called made all of these strides and we had our own communities intact and the men took care of the communities. When they had knucklehead boys on the corner, the men went out there and took care of it, you know. But now all of a sudden the man is not around and you got generations that's not doing what they're supposed to do. They're not being raised up right. But then there's those of us who do know better. Where we at? I think it's a fair question. Yeah. And you know how Steppin with Marcus J. We're going to take our first break of the night. And when we come back, JR, you up, my man.
All right.
I'm gonna let you tease it a little bit. I'm gonna let you be a big tease on the debate files. Just tease it up a little bit.
Hey, look, what we bringing from the debate file tonight? The debate is there a gene for homosexuality?
So we talked about it a little bit. We about to talk about a lot of bit. Ain't no half Steppin with Marcus J with JRSY and some special guests in the back. And you and the crew. Be back in a few minutes.